Welcome back to another episode of Firestarters. Can you believe it? We are halfway through the year. 25 episodes, 25 incredible spirit-led women have shared their journeys, their testimonies of just being ordinary women, living their life in the culture we're in today, but stepping out in faith and following God's calling and actually doing extraordinary things in faith and in obedience. And so what I've done is I've gone back and listened to these episodes, and I've pulled threads, common threads from all of them. This had to be, for me to share it in this episode, it had to be in every single episode. My question as I was listening to these was, what are the things that all of these women have done? What are the commonalities that have helped them first hear God clearly, and then have that faith and that clarity to step out of the boat and know the next right step to take? And so that's what I'm going to share with you in today's episode, is all the gold from the other 25 episodes and the threads that pull through all of these women's stories. I mean, these women, they're stay-at-home moms, they're lawyers turned to missionaries, they're women who do adoption and foster care. Some of them are not moms at all. They're just women living their lives in today's culture and continually kneeling at the Lord's feet and saying, how would you have me serve? And just take away any of my misconceptions or my preconceived notions, clear them out, Lord, and let me see the world as you see it and love others the way you love them. Let me glorify you and bring goodness to others. And here's how they're doing it. Here is the first thing that they're doing. Their faith is an action. They live out their faith. It's not a belief. All of these women, as I spoke to them during these interviews and talked to them about their faith, yes, they have a belief in Christ as the Son of God and that their Creator has created them and is sovereign over everything. But it doesn't stop there for any one of them. They believe that their faith is really an action that they live out. And so to live by faith is foundational to these women. It's their standard for living. It's their deep value and belief. So what does that mean? It means that they don't take their life up in their own hands. When things get difficult or there's confusion, they don't scurry around in anxiety and try to solve the problem themselves. Instead, they wait on the Lord and they create that space for him to show up and perform that miracle. I hear people say God doesn't do miracles anymore, and I don't know if he's raised people from the dead or not. I haven't heard any recent stories of that, but I do believe that he still does miracles every single day in our lives if we would just have eyes to see and a heart to understand, and then also a peace and a stillness within us to wait on him. Too often when things get difficult, we, myself, most assuredly, think it's time to get really, really busy and start spinning our wheels, when really it's that Exodus 14:14. Just be still. God will do the work. He's called us to it. It's his will and it's for his glory, and he will accomplish it. So they don't look for distractions. They don't look for ways to numb themselves out or to shrink back and back away from the challenge. Instead, they listen and they hand it over to God and say, I know you're asking me to live this out. I don't know the next step, and it seems like it's unraveling. My ears are open, Lord. Where would you have me go next? Or would you have me wait? And they wait. The second thing that they do, and this was really interesting, it was shown in so many different ways as I re-listened to these women's stories, is they create clarity about their current reality. They have this awareness. Every single one of these women have an awareness, or they continue to have, but at the beginning of their journey, they had this moment of awareness of like how deep life had gotten them, or how lost they were, or how desperate they were for God. They weren't lying to themselves anymore. They weren't trying to pick up the pieces themselves. There was this moment of just hands outstretched, knees to the floor. I have full understanding that I cannot do anything without you. They had this clarity of their current reality. And what that created in every single one of these women is a deep dependency on God. They were aware of what they lacked and that they had to have help, not only from their creator, but from other people. Most of these women, the moment they started moving forward was the moment they decided to quit trying to do things on their own or in private because they were scared of failing. The moment they decided, Lord, I'm going to quit trying in my own strength and depend on you, and I'm going to go look for help. And they allowed Christ to lead them to the people who would help them. Not one of these women in any of these episodes stepped forward or made progress or brought glory to God in isolation. Not one. They all had a slew. Even our last fire starter, Lena, she had what she believes were angels sent to protect her and to help her when she ran away from home at 16. So we can't do it alone. And these fire starters understand that. They understand that God has created us for community, to commune with Him, but also to be in community with other people, because we can't do it on our own. We need help. And I think that moment when we come to grips with, oh my gosh, I really, really need you, Lord, that's the moment He is able to just sort of swoop in and give us the most clarity in our journey. To me, that is when myself and these other women have noticed a big burst of clarity in their future. It was the moment they finally surrendered and said, I can't do it on my own. And that leaves me to the third one. And this is super simple, but it makes all the difference, because so many women can do these first two things. They can say, yes, I live my faith out. Absolutely. I trust God and I follow Him in obedience. They can say, oh yeah, I'm very aware that I need God's help and I can't do things alone. But here is the clincher. These women, every single one of them, chose to step out of the boat and follow God's calling the moment that He asked them. They had a degree of trust that enabled them to be bold, to take risks, to do it scared. They saw obstacles in their way, but they went forward anyway, because they knew that God would keep them steady, would hold them steady. I know in my own story, whenever I started back, I feel like my journey is, well, it's a lifetime in the making, right? But really, when I think just back to maybe 6 or 7 years ago, when I was teaching full time and we had just had a fourth baby, a surprise baby. And I remember having that moment where I fell to my knees and just cried out to God and said, I don't understand. We can't afford the 3 children we have, and you've blessed us with this 4th child, but what is this about? We didn't even plan for this. And there was so much anxiety in my heart because I had been just spinning my wheels trying to fix things on my own. And it was like, paddling in the mud. I was going nowhere and I was getting dirty, and everybody else around me was getting splattered with mud too. In that moment, I laid it down and put it at His feet and said, I can't do any of this. I can't fix any of this, and I cannot move forward. I surrender. I give up. It was almost like in defiance, like, you take it. You do something with it. But you know what? He did. And He gave me a vision for my future. And then the very next day, He gave me an opportunity to step out of the boat. Now, I could have seen that opportunity and recognized it and kept my feet planted firmly in that boat. But I didn't. And I know for each one of us, there are things in our heart. There is a discontentedness. There's an unsettled spirit within us because we know that God has created us for more. We go to bed at night and it hits us after everything is quiet and we're finally still, and it bubbles up again. There it is. That old familiar thought and feeling that I was meant for more, that I'm supposed to be doing something else. I'm meant to do more. God is calling me to something. And you probably have an idea of what it is, and it scares you. You feel unqualified. You feel like you're not skilled. You feel like you don't have the gifts. Maybe it takes resources that you don't even have. You can't even wrap your mind around it. But here's what I know, and here's what every single fire starter knows. If He called you to it, He has a purpose for it. And it is going to be bigger than you. It has to be, so that He gets the glory and you don't. You're going to need Him. You're going to need all the faith that you can muster. You're going to need Him every second of the way, because there's going to be deserts and there's going to be valleys. And the reason why there are is because he wants to grow in intimacy with you. He wants a deeper relationship with you, and that does not happen on calm waters. And so, yes, sister, he is calling you out. He is allowing your spirit to be discontented because he loves you and he has a place to take you, not just locationally, but relationally. So if this is a journey that you feel in your heart, you know, yes, this resonates. I'm being called. I want to step into it, but you are struggling just to do like the simple things in life. Like, hey, this sounds great. I would love to pursue my dreams, but I can't even manage laundry and the dishes in my house. We all work here. My kids are doing all the things. I have two resources that I want to offer you. I am starting, as this records, I'm starting 2 masterminds coming up. The first one starts this week. It's a 4-week mastermind for women who want to step into structure, create clarity and vision by defining your priorities, learn strategies to streamline those tasks, the dishes, the laundry, all those things, and manage your calendar so it doesn't manage you. You ever feel like your day is chasing you? No, it shouldn't feel that way. I want you to be able to establish mindful planning with reflection and goal setting and build confidence and control by developing skills in delegation and time management. So that's what we're going to step into. Starting this Wednesday, it's July, it's 4 weeks. We'll be done really before August gets here, and you will be organized and clear and have your feet back under you before school starts for your kiddos. The second one is an 8-week masterclass for women, creating clarity and vision. We're going to step into sort of some of these points that I was going over today. I want you to gain clarity of your current reality, crystallize your vision for your future self, and establish the right micro habits to become her now. Your future self isn't something you wish for and then all of a sudden one day, poof, you're her. No, you have to start doing the work today that she would do, and that actually helps you become her. So both of these masterclasses are available now. I'll put the link in the show notes so that you can click on it and get registered. I want you to look at these opportunities as an investment in your future self. I made these purely from a place of, I wish I had had them 8 years ago. I needed someone guiding my steps with this information 8 years ago, or it wouldn't have taken me so long. That's what a masterclass is. You're surrounded by women who are like-minded and they want to create the same thing. And it creates a synergy when we get together and share ideas. So I invite you into that, sister. I invite you into the journey of becoming a fire starter. You were made for a great purpose. God is calling you into his work. Our life is so short. It's such a blink. I want to give you the opportunity to think about your legacy. When your time comes and you are in heaven, I have this idea that God says, I have somebody that I want you to meet. And it's you, the fullest version of you, who he created you to be. I want in that moment for that version of you and who you became in this life to be as close as possible, to be almost the same person if possible. That's the goal. And that is where my heart was when I created these 2 masterclasses. This is the beginning of stepping in to her journey of creating your future self.